This week's assignment continues our exploration of social theory, focusing on pages 135 to 158 of the textbook. Be sure to review the deadlines section to stay on track with course expectations. So far, we've examined social structure theories, social process theories, neutralization, control theories, and labeling theory. We also discussed the prevalence and causes of juvenile homicide. This week, we'll turn our attention to the McDonald triad, the etiology of serial killing, the trauma control model, and the cyclical patterns often observed in serial killers. As always, Professor Reese encourages you to read the textbook closely. There's a great deal of valuable material that will help deepen your understanding. The childhoods of serial killers are often complex and varied. Some showed early signs of sociopathic behavior, such as aggression, manipulation, lack of remorse, and low guilt. However, these traits can also appear in children who never become violent. Every child processes experiences and responds to stress differently. The author argues that stress is a key factor behind many harmful behaviors in childhood. Since children lack mature coping skills, some are more vulnerable to developing problematic behaviors. Research has linked certain childhood behaviors, known as the McDonald triad, to serial killers. These behaviors include animal cruelty, chronic bedwetting, enuresis, and fire setting. While not exclusive to future offenders, these traits appear more often in the backgrounds of serial killers than in non-offenders. Experts suggest these behaviors may signal deep emotional distress and serve as early warnings for serious psychological issues. The text emphasizes that the triad should be viewed as a warning sign, a call for parents and communities to intervene before these destructive patterns evolve into adult antisocial or violent behavior. Another factor tied to the development of violent tendencies is early parental loss or rejection. This kind of emotional trauma can cause lasting damage, often leading to separation anxiety and aggression, which may continue into adulthood. Children in such environments may either withdraw emotionally or act out their pain and resentment through violence. Children who commit parricide, killing a parent, are often victims of emotional neglect. A lack of affection, such as hugs, kind words, or physical reassurance, can deprive children of the emotional security they need to develop in healthy ways. In dysfunctional families, members often learn to suppress emotions as a survival strategy. Feeling emotions like anger, fear, or sadness may become too painful, leading to emotional numbness or denial. Some parents also confuse punishment with discipline. While anyone can punish a child, often out of frustration, discipline requires love, patience, and consistency. Punishment without discipline typically stems from anger, not guidance. Despite evidence against it, many Americans still view spanking as an acceptable form of punishment. While not all children interpret it as rejection, some do, especially when it's delivered in anger. If parents refrain from spanking when angry, it would likely occur far less often. So, can we point to one clear cause of serial killing? Not exactly. Criminologist Eric Hickey argues that serial murder cannot be traced to a single factor, as the field is still developing. While influences like pornography, drugs, alcohol, or mental illness may play a role, they are not direct causes. Instead, they often act as contributing factors in a much more complex psychological and social process. Ted Bundy once claimed that pornography played a major role in his path to becoming a killer. His statement sparked ongoing debate about whether things like pornography or alcohol cause people to commit murder. However, it's important to recognize that millions of people consume such material and never engage in violence. Experts now believe that serial killers are shaped by a combination of influences, not a single cause. There's little evidence that people are born to kill or that violent media alone leads to homicide. However, some individuals may have predispositions, biological, psychological, or social, that, combined with trauma or other life experiences, gradually lead to violent behavior. One helpful framework is Eric Hickey's trauma control model. This model suggests that early, severe trauma, especially in childhood, can create deep emotional wounds, including rejection, abuse, and instability. These experiences can lead to long-lasting feelings of insecurity, low self-worth, and powerlessness. To cope, some individuals begin to dissociate, mentally disconnecting from their pain. They may build a false sense of confidence or control, a mask that hides their inner turmoil. Over time, this emotional damage may lead them to seek control through violence. Facilitators like alcohol, drugs, and pornography don't cause violence on their own, but they may fuel violent fantasies that help the offender maintain this illusion of control. For some serial killers, murder becomes a way to cope with trauma, a method of getting even with a world that once hurt them. Psychopathy, a label often applied to serial killers, can be seen as part of this coping strategy. Psychopaths appear calm and in control on the outside, but inside they often feel deeply broken. Their violence becomes a tool to maintain a fragile sense of power. In short, the trauma control model explains how early trauma, fueled by everyday stress and destructive fantasies, can create a cycle of violence. For serial killers, this cycle often involves fantasy, stalking, and murder, all in a relentless quest to control their lives by controlling and destroying others.